Everyone, thank you. I think you can hear me. Thank you. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 6:04, and this is a joint city council successor agency housing authority and successor housing agency regular meeting of Wednesday, November 6th, 2024. So thank you all that are we just pause for a minute because I know we're having some technical issues. Okay, yeah, thank you. So just a couple of reminders as we begin our meeting today. Thank you again for those that are joining us here in our chambers and those that are joining us via Zoom. Just a couple of ways that the public can participate. Public participation is really critical to our process. So just a couple of reminders, you can join us. You can join the meeting via Zoom. The meeting ID for today is 828-3112-2300. You can also call in to the meeting. And for today, we have it's the same number, which is 1-669-900-6833. And make sure also, if you are going to make any public comments, that you join the Zoom meeting on Facebook. If you're going to make any comments there, please note that those will not be part of the public record, as you do need to join the Zoom meeting to be able to ensure that your comments are part of the public record. And as usual, we do have a Spanish translations for all of our council meetings. So thank you. And so with that, we will move on to our roll call, please.
Mayor Ana Velasquez.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Maria Correjo. Councilmember Fernando Cabrera.
Here.
Councilmember Fernando Ansaldo Sanchez.
Here.
Councilmember Evarista Bañuelos. Thank you.
Okay, just a note, I know Councilwoman Evarista Bañuelos did contact the city manager that she would not be able to make it today due to a work-related commitment.
And we heard from Mayor Pro Tem that she's out ill.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so with that, then we'll move on to our next item, which is public comments on closed session items. So at this time, any member of the public may address the council on items not appearing on the agenda. So speakers will have 3 minutes. If you can please be brief and to the point. So do we have any members of the public that wish to make comments on closed session items? And for today, we do have one closed session item.
Yes.
So thank you. The council will recess to closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8 to give instructions to the city's negotiator concerning the purchase of property located at 1232 Monterey Street, assessor parcel number 022-042-015-000. Instructions may include price and term of payment. So that's the item on our agenda. Any comments
So you are soliciting comments on that particular item,
on this
correct?
specific
Yeah,
item?
great.
Yes. On closed sessions appearing on the agenda. Yes. Okay, do we have any public comments from those that are joining us here in our chambers? Okay, then I will take it out to those that are joining us via Zoom. Okay, so we have no public comments. So at this time, then we will recess to closed session, and we will come back at 6:30, which would be our public, will be our public portion of our council meeting. So we will adjourn to closed session. Thank you. Okay, we're ready.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, everyone. So we are coming back from our closed session and we'll have a report out and I will turn it, we'll give it to our city attorney for a report out.
So the council met and provided direction to its real property negotiator, who in this case is the city manager, for the property that's identified on the agenda, and no other reportable action was taken.
Okay, perfect. So we'll move on to our next item on our agenda, which is our Pledge of Allegiance. And if we can all stand, please, for the pledge, and if I can have Paul, if you can please lead us in our pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You think I know it?
Thank you.
Kindergarten. That's stage fright.
Thank you. Okay, so we will move on. Do we have any additions or modifications to the agenda for today?
We do not.
Okay, so no additions or modifications, so we'll move on to public comments. So at this time, we'll move on to public comments and any member of the public may address the city council on items not appearing on the agenda. So the public does have 3 minutes to speak. If you can please, if you're joining us here at the city, at the council chambers, if you can please come up to the podium. You do have, again, 3 minutes, and we just ask that your comments be brief, to the point, and respectful, please. So any members of the public that are joining us here wish to make a public comment? Thank you. And we have Mrs. Pauline Tomasini.
Pauline Tomasini, 37400 Metz Road, Soledad. I'm just here representing the Soledad Christmas Committee. We have a new name.
So Pauline, I'm gonna have to stop you really quick because that is an item that we will be, it is on the agenda. So we will discuss that. So it's items that are not on the agenda.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So items that are not on the agenda.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
It's okay. Okay. Okay, so seeing none, and then I will take it out to those that are joining us via Zoom, if there's any items that are not on the agenda. Okay, so seeing that there is no public comments, then we will close the public comment period. But before we do that, did we get any written public comments? No? Okay, so with no written public comments, then we will close the public comment period. And we will move on then to our council presentations. And we have 3 council presentations. We have 2 proclamations today, and then we do have 1 presentation. So we'll begin with the proclamations for today. And today we have, our first proclamation is a proclamation of the City Council in support of our Shop Local and Small Business Saturday. And I will turn this over to Councilmember Ansaldo Sanchez to read our proclamation.
Alrighty. Is this on? This is a proclamation again of the City Council of the City of Soledad proclaiming November 30th as Shop Local and Small Business Saturday. Whereas the City of Soledad recognizes the importance of supporting small businesses and the significant role they play in creating jobs, generating economic vitality, and fostering a unique sense of community and local pride. And whereas small businesses contribute to the diversity and vibrancy of our local economy, offering goods and services that reflect the character and spirit of Soledad while reinvesting in our community. And whereas Small Business Saturday, celebrated annually on the Saturday after Thanksgiving, encourages residents to support local businesses as they begin their holiday shopping and extends an invitation for our community to champion local entrepreneurs and artisans year-round. And whereas shopping local helps to keep funds within the community, benefiting local business owners, creating opportunities for employment, supporting our schools, and contributing to the well-being of our city. And whereas organizations such as the Monterey County Business Council play an important role in raising awareness of the importance of shopping local and sustaining small businesses that are integral to the cultural and economic fabric of Soledad, allowing them to flourish and thrive. And now for let it be proclaimed that the City Council of the City of Soledad hereby recognizes November 30th as Small Business Saturday and urges all residents of Soledad to shop locally on this day and throughout the year. We encourage residents to support small businesses by shopping, dining, and utilizing services from local vendors.
And we don't have anyone from our small businesses here? Oh, we do.
Yeah, small business development.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'm Roger Gilbert, the Director of the Monterey County and San Benito County Small Business Development Center.
Jesus Gutierrez, Program Manager for the Central Coast Small Business Development Center.
Okay, would you like to say a few words?
I'd just like to thank all of you, and I'd particularly like to thank our partners at the Welcome Center, Tensia and Canoe, and thank Jesus and Jose Luis, who actually do all of the work here and man the Welcome Center every Monday and go door to door to businesses and meet everyone and promote small business in Soledad and the rest of our service area. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Would you like to say a couple of words?
Just to reiterate what Roger had said, we're really thankful for Tensia's team, Canoe, Megan Hunter as well, and as well as the City Council for being able to extend the Welcome Center as an office for us to be able to connect with local businesses. We remind you that we are there Monday from 9 to 4. And urge if you do know any businesses to feel free to recommend them to us so that we might be able to help them in any way that we're able to.
And we don't want to forget to thank the Monterey County Business Council, who hosts our organization and other programs for small businesses. And also, if you come across anyone who would like to be an advisor with Monterey County Business Council under the Small Business Development Center, we can always use advisors and looking for advisors in South County. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, both Roger and Jesus. Let me open it up to the our council to see if they want to share any words as well. So Councilmember Cabrera.
Just one, well, actually, thank you for the work that you guys do, and also if you could say something a little bit about that, what you just said about advisors.
Yes.
What do they do? What do you expect from them?
So
So that we can.
the main thing that we do is that we provide free one-on-one expert advising. We have advisors with who have expertise in different areas, and we match them up with small businesses or pre-venture entrepreneurs who have an idea for a business and help them with whatever subject they need, whether it's marketing or accounting, QuickBooks, artificial intelligence, writing a business plan, looking for bank funding, any of those things. We match them up with an advisor who can work with them and help them to accomplish that. We want them to start businesses, hire employees, increase revenue, do all of those things that we're all looking for our small businesses in our communities.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you, Jesus and Roger. And I know Paul's here as well with Monterey County Business Council, and I know he's going to do another presentation, but also want to say thank you and thank you to the council and thank you to the staff. And I know, I just want to say, I know with the history, I think I've served the longest now in the council. But the council has several years of wanting to invest and investing in economic development. There was a time when we only had one person doing economic development. And it became a priority that if we wanted to really support our small businesses and to grow our small businesses and also commercial and retail, that we had to invest. So now we have a team, whereas before we didn't have a team. And that has been a priority for this council and prior councils, that we want to make sure that we do support that. And so I'm thankful also for the funding at the state level that comes to be able to help our small businesses. But I think, as we all know, we don't do this in silos, and it's partnerships like this one, right? That we all have to work together to be able to provide those opportunities and those resources, especially to our rural, small communities like Soledad to make sure that our businesses are successful, because we know that in California and in our rural communities that, you know, the more successful our small businesses are, the more successful our communities are, and the more revenues that we're able to generate, the more resources that we're able to give back to our communities. So with that, then we want to make sure that we thank you for your services, and that we make sure that we let everybody know also for our small businesses, because we do have a lot of people that are interested, that you are here Monday, every Monday from 9 to 4. Please go see them. They are at the Gateway Center. And then on November 30th and every day, we want to make sure that people shop local, because the more that we shop local, then those revenues and that tax stays here, and we can make sure that we provide those services to our community. And it's important during the holiday season too. So now that it's just crazy to think that Thanksgiving is just right around the corner, right? And Christmas is just next month, but you know, the more opportunities that we have to really invest and shop local, I think it's really important. And coming from someone that grew up here, I worked for a local pharmacy where I actually, in the local pharmacy, we did gift wrapping. So I used to gift wrap. So, you know, we had these, you know, special touches. So the more that we can shop here, the more that we can shop local, it stays in our community and it goes back to our families. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then we'll present you with the certificate, and what we'll do after we're done, then we'll pause for a little bit to take a photo.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we'll move on then to our next proclamation, and that's a proclamation of the City Council of the City of Soledad observing November 2024 as National Alzheimer's Disease Awareness Month to honor those with Alzheimer's, their families and their caregivers. And I'll turn this over to Councilmember Cabrera to provide the presentation.
Thank you. A proclamation of the City Council of the City of Soledad recognizing the month of November as National Alzheimer's Month, whereas Alzheimer's disease affects millions of individuals and families across our nation, impacting not only those diagnosed, but also their loved ones, caregivers, and community at large. And whereas Alzheimer's disease is a progressive neurological disorder that profoundly affects memory, thinking, behavior, making even simple daily activities challenging for those afflicted. And whereas, while significant strides have been made in Alzheimer's research, more support and awareness are needed to advance scientific understanding, improving early diagnosis, and discover effective treatments until moving towards a cure. And whereas caregivers such as Eden Valley Healthcare Center here in Soledad give tirelessly of themselves to support those with Alzheimer's, and their dedication is essential to the well-being and quality of life of patients and families across the country. And whereas it is essential for communities to come together to support awareness campaigns, foster compassion, and promote education about Alzheimer's to reduce stigma, ensure access to resources, and offer help to families and individuals affected by this disease. And now, therefore, let it be proclaimed that the City Council of the City of Soledad hereby recognizes the month of November as a National Alzheimer's Month. Sorry, it's kind of hard for me because I have family members that are suffering from this, and just that portion of daily activities brings memories of us dealing with that situation. So I want to thank you for the bottom of my heart for all the work that you guys do.
And today, so we have Ida Lopez Chan from the Soledad Health District, Mission Healthcare District, and also Mr. Craig Stevens, the board president.
So good evening, Mayor Velasquez and council members. It is an honor and pleasure to be part of the City of Soledad's proclamation in November 2024 as the National Alzheimer's Disease Awareness Month, to honor those with Alzheimer's, their families, and caregivers. My name is Ida Lopez Chan, CEO of the Soledad Community Healthcare District, and joining me is Greg Stevens, our board president and re-elected board member. It's always a pleasure to show our community members and visitors alike the great place where we work and live. And Eden Valley is one of those, because of the wonderful people that work there, our staff and our community, benefit from it greatly. I invite you all council members and I thank, Fernando Ansaldo, council member, for please, thanking him for taking a tour. And I invite all of you to join us and also, anytime come by and invite you to take a tour as well. In recognition of National Alzheimer's Disease Awareness Month, the Saudet Community Healthcare District emphasizes the importance of awareness, education, and support for our families affected by Alzheimer's, as Councilmember Cabrera mentions. By Alzheimer's diseases in our community, Alzheimer's disease is a devastating condition that not only impacts individuals, but places significant emotional and financial strain on families and caregivers alike. Currently, over 6 million Americans are living with Alzheimer's. The number is projected to be more than doubled by 2050. With Hispanic and African American communities, especially the highest risk. In Monterey County, the need for Alzheimer's support and resources is critical, as an increasing number of families face the challenges associated with the progressive illness. The Saudet Community Healthcare District and Eden Valley remains committed to providing compassionate care and resources to help our families navigate this journey through initiatives that focus on education, early diagnosis, and caregiver support. Eden Valley Care Center, with its skilled nursing facility, offers a compassionate environment to support individuals requiring long-term care, including those impacted by Alzheimer's disease. We encourage our residents of Soledad to learn more about Alzheimer's disease and support those in our community who are affected, and participate in local programs aimed at enhancing cognitive health, like we do at Eden Valley. For example, today, we had Monterey County Pops that came in and provided musical entertainment for our seniors at Eden Valley. And that is one of the stimuli that help when you have a condition of that sort. So anybody wishing to participate in those activities, please let us know. We always have our doors open for that kind of activity. By fostering awareness and understanding, we can work together to create a more supportive community for individuals with Alzheimer's and their loved ones. Thank you again for this proclamation.
Thank you, and thank you for the work that you're doing in Eden Valley and the work that you're doing to really raise awareness on this, on this disease. Obviously, some of those numbers are pretty staggering in terms of the 6 million Americans, but also in terms of the Hispanic population and African American population that are more susceptible to this disease. So thank you for the work that you're doing. So let me open it up to our council member Ansaldo Sanchez.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you so much for being here for this proclamation. I think it's something that's really important. I have a grandparent who unfortunately does suffer from dementia, Alzheimer's, and it takes a toll on a family, especially when it's been for a really long time. And I wanted to thank the Soledad Healthcare Center for providing exceptional services to a lot of individuals that live here in Soledad, specifically individuals that may be from underrepresented backgrounds, folks that need healthcare assistance, need additional assistance, folks that are homeless, just a wide variety of patients that Eden Valley sees and the healthcare center sees. It's something that I'm very grateful for you all for being able to do that work. So again, thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, well, thank you. So let me, so we can pause there because I know the next is a presentation and we're gonna take some more time with that and have some questions. So if we can pause for a moment so we can take some photos, that'd be good. Thank you. Okay, thank you. So we're back. Thank you so much for allowing us some flexibility as we congratulate those that were here with us and take some time to make sure that we take some photos, just to be able to share some of the great work that they're doing with our community. So we do have some additions and modifications that we want to make to the agenda, just to make sure that we accommodate, because we do have Pauline with us and we want to make sure that we get to her item that is on the consent agenda. So we do, if we can move, council, if we can have approval to move the consent agenda item next, and then we can come back to the council presentations under item 3. So that'll give us a little bit more time to be able to have more of a longer discussion in terms of just questions and answers, to be able to ensure that we have enough time for the important information that's going to be presented to us. Do we need a motion?
No, actually,
No,
it's
just
at,
approval?
it's at the city, the mayor's discretion to, yeah.
Okay,
remove the
perfect.
agenda.
So the mayor's
Yay,
discretion, then I will move forward then to make that modification. And so we'll move on then to the consent agenda, and then we'll be back for the council presentation under item 3. So at this time, does any member of the council wish to pull any items from the consent calendar for additional comments or questions?
I'd like to pull C10 for Ms. Messini.
Okay, and I have C13. Okay, any others? Okay, any members of the public wish to pull an item from the consent calendar for further questions or concerns? Any of those that are joining us via Zoom? Oh, okay, so council, then I'll entertain a motion for approval of all other items with the exception of items C-10 and C-13.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so I have a motion on the floor, first by Councilmember Cabrera, second by Councilmember Saldo Sanchez. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so motion carries on a 3-0.
Mhm.
Okay, so with that, then we'll move on and we will have Councilmember Saldo Sanchez, you pulled, and I wanted to pull that one too, but pull item 10, C10.
I did, yeah. So I do see that I just wanted to thank staff for having the kind of in-kind amount as best as we could there. But I really just pulled it so that we can have a public comment for it. So I don't really have much for it.
Okay, so no public comment, so I just,
Last comment.
Yeah, Pauline.
Hmm?
Pauline is a public comment.
oh, Pauline, okay, so Pauline, do you, we'll open it up, I have a comment on it, but Pauline, did you wanna, at this time, we would allow for a public comment on item C-10.
What do I say? Introduce myself?
Yes.
Pauline Tomasini, who lives at 37400 Metz Road, Soledad. And I'm here representing the committee for the Christmas parade, which will be on December 7th, Saturday. So I want to thank the city of Soledad for being very much involved this year. We really appreciate your help. And so we'll try to follow the rules correctly.
Thank you, Pauline. Yeah, we want to thank you too. Are you done? Sorry.
Pardon.
Are
I
you done?
have a hard time hearing you people, so.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Do you have
Are
any
we
additional
loud?
comments?
Any additional comments?
No, I really appreciate the city secretary here. She's very cheerful and helpful and
Cool.
we're able to use this council chamber for our future meetings and I understand if I heard right that King City, City of King might be having their Christmas festivities on the same day. I'm not sure if I heard that correctly. Maybe the chief knows? No? Oh, well, anyway, we're two different cities, so. Yes, and we're gonna have an improvement on the parade route. We have Michaela Lenoble, who's very knowledgeable, and so I think it'll go much smoother, and the chief will be attending our meetings to help us along. So do you have any questions of us? I understand we cannot have jump houses because of the insurance, the liability. We have had, insurance, prior. There's a lot of, local agents that are not insured, but we did have one that was insured, but that's okay. If that's the rule, that's the rule. And I'm grateful you're gonna let us use your restrooms. That'll cut down our expenses. We still have to rent a few more. So we really appreciate your support. And, we'll try to follow whatever rules you have, for us to abide by.
Thank you, Pauline. Thank you, Pauline. And those are beautiful restrooms, and now with the artwork on them, they're just amazing. So that's what they were there for, to be able to accommodate for these type of festivities. So we're super excited, and we want to thank you, because I know that, this is the 38th annual Christmas parade. And you've been instrumental in supporting this and coordinating this, for so many years. So thank you so much.
Well, I've had good help,
Yes.
Eva Buñuelos is really helpful too. She's a go-getter, full of
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah, definitely. So thank you so much. So I think with that, I think I want to pivot a little bit into that as well. So I think the other reason why I wanted to pull this as well, and then I'll turn it over to our city manager, is I just want to also make sure that we make a public comment on this. Because we do have now, Eva Buñuelos has been part of the committee for many, many years. She is now a city council member. And so we wanted to make sure, that we, also for full transparency and disclosure, that, we're able to share with our community that, the reason that we're supporting this event, it's not any kind of preferential treatment, because we have, Councilwoman Buñuelos that sits on our council, as a councilwoman, but because this council and prior councils and, councils for the past 38 years have been supporting this event, because this has been a staple event for our community as part of the annual Christmas festivities in the city of Soledad. And there hasn't been any other festivities in terms of Christmas, at least to my knowledge, and, so this has been something that the council and our city has supported. So I just want to make sure, for full disclosure, that we do announce that this has been a event that we have been supporting, regardless of whether Councilwoman Buñuelos sits on the council or not. That this is one of those events that we will continue to support because of how important it is to our community, and because it's been an event that's been very instrumental and important to our residents. And I'll turn it over to our city manager in case there's any other additional comments she'd like to make.
Yeah, just to echo what the mayor said, this event is a long-standing event that the city has partnered with. It so happens that this year, Ms. Banuelos is now a council member, but it is not because of her involvement in council that the city the city staff is recommending supporting this event. We're very careful to make sure that we work with groups that have provided lots of support and have had these long-standing events. And as the mayor indicated, it's the event itself that is very important to our community because of the length of time it's been in the community and the fact that we don't really have many Christmas events. This is the big event for us. I did also want to add, we've had some preliminary conversations with the committee about also having the tree lighting the evening before. That way the tree lighting doesn't get confused and the tree is lit when we do have the parade. So we are going to look forward to actually a pre-event to the main event on the 6th, Friday evening, and we'll have more details to follow with that. So and we are hoping that all the council members can be there so we can light up the tree. Thank you.
Yeah, and just final comment is I know we've talked about the sponsorship events that we have. We've had already conversations with the council. We will bring it back to be able to form an ad hoc or discuss an ad hoc committee and how we have a criteria, eligible criteria to be able to determine those events that we do move forward with sponsorship for future. That way it's really clearly articulated and guidelines are established for our community and for us also as council. So that will come back for council approval at a future date. So with that, then if there's no further comments on that item, I will move on to.
Through the chair, just a comment. I want to say that I went to the first one 38 years ago. And last year I was able to light the tree and distribute some candies, and I hope we had as many, even more people than we had last year. It was beautiful, and we would like to participate also. Are we gonna be able to participate in them, course?
Yes, more to come. We have a plan that we would like to discuss with you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so more to come on that, council. So, okay, so with that, then we'll move on then to item 13. And I pulled this item, and this is resolution 6171. And this is the city council, City of Soledad approving the memorandum MOU between the City of Soledad and Hartnell College Foundation for the SOAR Ambassador Pilot Program Asset Mapping Project. And I just, Jesus, thank you so much. I just want to make sure that if you can just give us a little, this is an amazing program. I'm really super excited. I do have just one quick question in terms of the stipends for the youth. And I just want to make sure that as we're moving forward with, I don't know if I've already started, if we're starting, how many youth, and then my question is, what's going to be the stipend amount? And as we're moving forward, that there's parity with all 5 cities, so all the youth get the same stipend amount, and we don't have some youth getting, because I didn't see that in the contract.
So what we are gonna do is actually fold this into the youth commission. That way it's not a separate SOAR program and a youth commission. So we're very lucky that the person that is administering this grant, Michelle Slade, allows us to say, yes, we have to meet these grant deliverables. However, we want to use these funds to continue engagement of youth. So that's why there's not a set stipend amount. We're gonna replicate what we did last year with the youth commissioners and hire them directly. And so they can work maximum 10 hours per week. And we already selected 3 youth commissioners that if they submit the paperwork this week, should be getting started. However, one youth, Angelina, has been working on this for the past 6 weeks. It was super fast, so by the time we got the invite, by the time the other cities got the invite, they needed to start. So she has been keeping track of her hours, so that's something that we will actually have to figure out for.
Okay, so we'll continue with our program. So it's
Yeah,
different.
we're basically paying them hourly, the hourly intern rate. So they submit their hours, which is probably better than what a stipend, quite honestly, financially better for them than a stipend.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure because it didn't say that, articulate that in the contract.
Yeah, so we will actually have our youth commissioners come for the next meeting and introduce themselves. And by that time, they'll be able to speak a little bit more on it as well.
Okay. Okay. Okay, well, thank you so much. I'm super excited about this opportunity that we get with Hartnell College to be able to extend what we're already doing.
Yes.
So,
Thank you.
yeah, congratulations. Okay, council, so with that, then, if there's no further questions, then
I move to approve council consent items C10 and C13.
okay, I have
Second.
a motion on the floor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so motion carried on 3-0. 3-2, yeah. 0. Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Did we do that already? Okay, yeah. Sorry. Okay, great. So, okay, then, perfect. Thank you, Pauline. So thank you. You're welcome to stay for the remainder of our meeting. But yes, but you're welcome to leave now if you want to. Thank you. So we'll go back to, thank you, Pauline. So we'll go back to our council presentation. Then now we'll go to item 3, which is our Monterey County Business Council Chief Operations Officer, Paul Farmer, and Cosmont Vice President Robert Valenti will give a presentation regarding the Soledad Retail Market Assessment.
Good. I'm Paul Farmer. Thank you for that. I was gonna make a joke about appreciating Darlene working 25 hours a day, but she's not here for my job. Thank you for your time tonight. I just want to tell you a little bit about what the Business Council and our Building Business Back program has been doing in South County, because we got a lot of cool stuff going on. I'm gonna pass out a very high-level overview report of a study that we contracted with Beacon Economics to look at employment trends in Monterey County, and we had them do a special section on each of the cities within the county. And Soledad is featured on page 16 with a nice pretty picture. So this, what I'm gonna pass out to you, including for the council members not present, this is just a very high level overview, but there is a barcode on the back that you can scan to get the full hundreds of pages report. So you can look at what they talk about for Soledad.
Thank you.
For another year.
Now, aside from that, what we're here to talk about, again, we've got a number of very cool things that we're working on with the city of Soledad and the support of the council. One of those is the Container Village project, which we expect Bob Valenti and Cosmont Companies may also be advisors with us as we build that plan to make that a reality to realize the council's vision. The current report that we're going to talk about tonight is the result of Building Business Back convening what we call the South County Roundtable, which is a monthly meeting with the South County city managers and economic development folks, Tencia, Canoe, Megan. And we talked about how we could use some of the resources that the Business Council has in our partnership with the County of Monterey to help benefit South County cities. And after much discussion, where we landed was to do the study that will be shared with you tonight. It's a retail study looking at what are the possibilities for Soledad and the other cities in the South County to bring additional retail to our area. Even though we don't have the highest population, there still may be some opportunities that were discovered during this process. So I'm going to leave the presentation up to Bob Valenti. He is a vice president at Cosmont Companies, and he was one of the principal researchers who worked on this project. So he'll be via Zoom, and he'll share his screen if he can. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me, and can you see my screen?
And Bob, you're on mute right now.
Oh. Can you hear me? I should be unmuted.
Now you're good.
Yes.
Okay, got it. And can you see my screen?
We can, but we're having some echo. We have an echo.
An echo. All right, how about now? Yep, testing. I'm not hearing anything here. Okay. So thank you, Paul. Okay, so you can hear me. I'm just gonna move through the presentation then, and then we can jump to some questions. So I'll try to keep this relatively quick. I know you have other items to get through. So again, my name is Bob Valenti. I'm a vice president with Cosmont Companies. Just by way of background, Cosmont is a real estate and economic development advisory firm. We've been in the business for 38 years. We do a lot of work with city governments, county governments.
I'll just call it instead of.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, sorry about that. We were having like a delay of a few seconds, so they're working on it IT wise. So just give us the whole time for just a moment, we'll let you know when to start. All right, I'll text you, thanks. Oh, now, Darlene, I can give my joke.
The speaker, I mean, the microphone.
All right, testing. Sounds good. Okay, thanks, Paul. I will get going. Okay, so again, I'm with Cosmont Companies. We do a lot of economic development advisory work throughout California, and we've been working with the Monterey County Business Council as well as the other cities in the region on a South Monterey County retail market assessment, with the goal really being to better understand the local retail environment and really kind of understand some market trends and really develop some plans for an approach for retail for the four cities. Really with the goals being to increase local sales, to increase local retail options, and
now it went off. Maybe.
We're muted over there.
But that's off now.
Okay.
Try.
No. Yeah, let's recess. Can we recess for a few minutes?
no problem.
I said how my French curly really has a unique beer. I don't know what we would consider fancy. Yeah. You asked him to guess.
Yeah, he suggested whether one of the other participants was unmuted.
I learned tomorrow. Well, I'm not sure I know.
Do you want him to start speaking?
Yeah, I'll do it. We also need to find.
Testing, testing. Can you hear me now? Okay. I can, okay, I can keep speaking. Hopefully there's only one of my voice. Testing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It'll loop
you
back.
want to just talk to him? Well,
Oh, can you just do the presentation?
Or you be talking.
can I
to the
do this?
phone.
Well,
Or could
Why
we-
doesn't he just talk into the phone and you can hold the phone up to the microphone?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Mic on the phone.
Could you
maybe?
talk a little bit?
Can you put the mic on the phone?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's give that one a shot.
Let's see.
Worst case scenario, if I have to do it, I can go through it and do my best.
Hello.
Hello.
Right.
Okay, so Bob, let's see if you can talk and if they can hear you through the microphone.
And you, why is it, so it's looping here too?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I do have it on speaker. Okay, yeah, go ahead and talk.
Okay. Hi, Paul.
Yeah, just keep talking.
Okay. My name is Bob Valenti. I am a vice president of Cosmon Company.
Okay, Bob, so the mayor's nodding. I think we'll just do it this way. So I have you on my cell phone and I'll just hold this up to the microphone. So we're ready to go ahead and begin, and apologies for the little snafu.
No problems. And I think because of echo that I'm getting through my headphones, I am just gonna run through the presentation and then we can have questions at the end. Does that work?
Sounds good.
Okay. So I can just take it from the top and, you know, I know they're from the right, so. Keep it brief and succinct here. My name is Bob Valenti. I am a vice president with Cosmon Companies. We are an economic development and real estate advisory firm. We have been working in the state of California for 38 years, working with a variety of city governments, county governments, private sector clients. And we're working on a retail market assessment on the South Monterey County region to better understand the retail market and some opportunities. So just to quickly summarize our report, and our full report is available for you to look at. It has a lot of data, a lot of information on the retail market, on local demographics, on the trade area, some specific opportunity sites within your community and other communities, as well as some tools and strategies that can be used to encourage retail activity. So I encourage, you know, anybody who is interested to take a look at that full report. But just to provide a quick executive summary, you know, we see that the region and the cities have been seeing some population growth in recent decades. They're poised to continue seeing population. And while the retail market is generally stable, it does face some competition from nearby areas, particularly the retail cluster in Salinas. Retail vacancy in general is low, but we know that the city of Soledad included would like to improve retail tenancy improve the retail areas of their city and stimulate additional retail development. In general, the retail market is being shaped by modern consumer forces. That includes e-commerce, that includes, buying things online, and picking them up in stores. And consumers in general are really seeking out curated and engaging retail experiences. All of these changes are reshaping brick and mortar retail and also just reshaping the ways that cities are approaching retail and retail development. So again, we looked at opportunity sites within each city. That included some existing shopping centers, some undeveloped opportunity sites. Successful projects likely include different components but at this time, it's important to note that retail developments are experiencing some challenges because of financial costs, financial feasibility issues driven by high land values, construction costs, relatively high interest rates. And so there are really some tools that cities can use to help motivate private investment. That includes, programs to encourage improvements of shopping centers, business expansion, attraction, and retention exercises and marketing exercises, and also some zoning strategies and regulatory flexibility to facilitate complementary uses and retail uses. Now, our analysis, we looked at some of the regional assets, including agricultural, natural, cultural. We took a look at demographic and tax revenue and employment data to get a better understanding of the trade area. We also looked at retail market data, both available through CoStar, some real estate market information. We see fairly low vacancy rates in the region, at around 1.7% and even lower within the city of Soledad. So that's a very low retail vacancy rate. One other thing I'll note here is that of the 66,000 square feet of retail that has been added to the region since 2019, about 90% of that has occurred here in Soledad. So really, you're seeing some of that new retail activity. One other thing I'll point out is that we've looked at some mobile visitor data as well using Placer AI, which provides some great insights into the trade area where residents are going to for different shopping trips, where visitors are coming from that are stopping at different shopping centers, and then really being able to dive in and look at some specific centers, specific opportunity sites in Soledad to look at visitor information. As well as also identifying some potential stores and brands that may be good fits for the trade area. I'll just kind of quickly talk about some of the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that we see for retail here. Strengths, the strategic location along the 101 certainly, and in the Salinas Valley. Some of the market voids could be some opportunity to capture local spending. Proximity to attractions like Pinnacles National Park and the coast and wineries create some opportunities. And the community character, the good close-knit communities with historic downtowns. Weaknesses include the perception of a small market size, which can be a deterrent for some national retailers and investors. Competition from larger cities, such as the retail cluster in Salinas, can be challenging. Infrastructure costs. So, upgrading or supporting new development, that infrastructure can be expensive. It can stretch out timelines for potential projects. And then also just in general, again, high development costs. And property owners, may have high value expectations, but they may need some assistance with connecting with developers to make projects happen. Looking at opportunities, we see some opportunity to attract dining. Perhaps, some general merchandise stores and some small entertainment concepts. All of these can help fill some of those gaps in the retail market. In general, we also see opportunities for what we call blended use projects. So those are projects that combine multiple uses on the one site. So it could be retail as well as hotel, residential, industrial, some combination of those different uses, all of which, can support each other and improve, the financial feasibility of the overall project. Tourism growth is certainly an opportunity here that can help bring more visitors into the cities where they can stop and spend, and help to generate economic activity and sales tax revenue within your cities. Public-private partnerships, working with property owners and other stakeholders to bring projects to fruition. And then again, regulatory flexibility like streamlining and just generally improving the business friendliness environment in the region. And then in general, some threats, economic fluctuations, of course. E-commerce competition again presents some challenge to some brick and mortar retail. And then national retailers have specific criteria that they're looking at. And some of them may have certain targets that they're looking for, certain site requirements that they're looking for, or could have some reservations about being in what they perceive as a smaller, more rural market. So again, some economic challenges related to inflation and construction costs and interest rates present a challenge. What we call the barbell effect is a challenge, where the region is really flanked by some larger retail clusters like that in Salinas and the retail clusters in Monterey, and San City, and Paso Robles, with the region really kind of existing in between those three, and that can present a challenge to developing retail in the region. And so here I'll talk about three kind of key themes, both challenges and opportunities within these themes. The first being market size. So again, the region's small rural character can limit some potential for retail development, even though it has seen some population growth over the past 25 years. So we see, significant housing projects in the pipeline that can help to further population growth and support local retail. One of the things we like to say is that housing can really be a key component of economic development, because it's helping to build that local demand that can support local retail and lead to new commercial development as well. And so our recommendation here being to encourage those sorts of blended use developments that can incorporate both residential as well as leveraging that demand for residential to also help to cultivate retail space. The next theme that I look at is retail leakage and the competitive environment. So again, significant retail leakage with residents traveling to other larger retail clusters for a lot of their retail activity. We do see some potential to capture some of this leakage by attracting new retail development in certain underserved and certain expanding categories. So the key recommendation here is to conduct outreach to developers and retailers and explore those opportunities that are formats that are suitable for the region and for your city and sites. And then finally, travelers and tourism. The region certainly sees some visitors and traveler traffic along the 101 corridor. But a fair amount of this traffic is commuter travel or visitors passing through. So by whatever means, the city can really try to capture more of those sales and attract visitors, particularly through freeway adjacent retail and hospitality. It can help to attract and cater to travelers. So focusing on marketing and events, and also leveraging some of those freeway adjacent opportunity sites for traveler-oriented development. Just to kind of quickly touch on some of the key things that retail tenants are looking at. They're looking at demand and trade area thresholds. It could be demographics. It could be, other things that they're looking for in a trade area. There could be specific anchor tenants that they're looking for or need to act secured for a new development. Traffic and visibility, site accessibility, circulation issues. Consumer convenience is a big one. A lot of retailers now, are looking for some flexibility with drive-throughs and curbside pickup and mobile ordering. And then competitive retail rates. A lot of retailers are sensitive to rent prices. This can present a challenge to some new development, because the high rates needed to justify the new development can be too high for some retailers, which is why some retailers prefer second generation space rather than new space. Again, our full report takes a deeper look at a few different opportunity sites within Soledad. We looked at downtown Soledad. We certainly see pretty low vacancy there, or no vacancy, and some major improvements that are underway that are exciting to help activate the area. And certainly that planned container village concept can help drive additional activity as well, and provide some vital spaces for up and coming businesses. We also took a look at the Soledad Marketplace and a large site adjacent to the 101 at Miranda and San Vicente as well. I'll quickly talk about some of these implementation tools and strategies. The first being business expansion, attraction, and retention services to really try to attract some of these and support new businesses. Supporting local businesses is a key component. I know we just heard earlier in the meeting about Small Business Saturday, Small Business Development Center, and the types of advising services that are available there. Those types of programs can be great and essential in helping businesses get get steps in thriving and growing, so that it can be a very important component. Collaborating with property owners to get projects across the finish line. So really understanding barriers, understanding challenges, understanding some flexibility to assist projects, and exploring different economic development strategies that can facilitate those projects. Infrastructure improvements can be key to help stimulate private sector investment and generally improve retail areas. Building partnerships and outreach that can include strengthening existing partnerships like that with the Business Council and the SBDC and organizations like C Monterey. It could mean building new relationships, working on relationships with property owners, developers, retail brokers, other organizations, really to understand and understand needs, understand resources that are available. Events and activities are big in improving foot traffic and sales activity. Marketing efforts that can be both the city's own marketing efforts on social media and other trade publications and promoting local businesses, can also mean helping local businesses enhance their own marketing efforts. It can also mean promoting opportunities and conducting meetings with owners and brokers and retailers at retail functions such as the ICSC conferences. And finally, community engagement, always important to learn, to develop a vision, to build support, and keep momentum going. And so with that, I'll open it up to any questions.
Thank you so much. I think that worked. Thank you, Paul, for holding the phone, and I think that worked a lot better. Thank you so much for all of that information. I know it's a lot of details and a lot of data and a lot that was provided to us. So let me open it up. Let me open it up to. Do I need to take it to the public? Yeah, let me open it up to the public first before I bring it to the council. So any members of the public that are here with us in our chambers have any comments or questions in regards to the presentation that was provided? Okay, seeing none, then I'll take it out to those that are joining us via Zoom. There's none? Okay, so then I'll bring it back to the council. So let me start with Councilmember Cabrera. If you have any comments or questions, and we'll take both.
I have both.
Yeah.
First, I'm gonna spend a minute with this crazy idea. So this is what I hear. So we don't, the way that I see it, we need a lot of people, driving people to the town so that we can have some retailers coming, settle in Soledad. But we don't have that people because we don't have two things. We don't have an attraction and we don't have or we don't have an industry. If we had an industry that will bring more people to work here, then we can move people and business will be attracted to Soledad. Same thing, if we had an attraction, let's say like, and I'm gonna just put this phrase here, let's say a water park. A water park, the closest is an hour away from us. We right in the middle of the valley, we are, perfect location. If we had a water park, people will come to the city from both sides, north and south. Then we will have a lot of people driving and business will be interested in that. We also have a water treatment plant, from which we could have that water to feed the water park. So I think, seriously, that we cannot attract people to come and live in Soledad because the prices are really high and the people that could come, they're gonna work outside Soledad. So they're gonna go out and they're gonna pay, they're gonna purchase things and they're gonna pay for traveling outside Soledad. So bringing people that will work outside is not gonna help us improve in that portion because they have access to other places like Salinas, Monterey and everything. So we have, from my crazy idea is that we cannot offer, there's not sufficient people that go to the park that we have to create a lot of sales, you know, and people cannot stay. I don't think that people will stay in Soledad if they can stay in Monterey or Salinas and just travel to the park. So we need something that stimulates people. When it comes to industries, I think that one of the values that we have is people. We have the human capital. So we need an industry that can provide job opportunities, but also training for those opportunities. We have the people will be able to get into those programs and work for them and create, bring more people into Soledad that can have that job and create and live here and die here and create more opportunities for business to come. Because if we don't have an industry and we don't have an attraction, then how can we bring people if everything else costs too much or we don't have the service?
So,
Can I address this question?
yeah, and so,
Bob, are you able to hear everything that the council member stated?
Yes.
Okay, good. I just want to make one comment. I think that's a good insight that you have in the report in some of the detail, and Bob, you can cite the specifics, but they looked at whether the retail is basically underbuilt in this area or not for the population that we have. And they have statistics, like if you bring an additional 5,000 people to the city, how much additional retail can that support? And the basic findings were that we're not really underbuilt a lot, especially in Soledad, when you look at some of the other South County cities. Bob, would you like to comment on Councilmember Cabrera's comment?
Yeah, sure. So I mean, yeah, I think you make a good point that, some of what we looked at was looking at, whether retail was underbuilt or not. And I think just kind of building off of, the council member's comment about demand drivers, demand drivers in general are just a big component of economic development efforts. Having some of that, having businesses, having destinations, that can catalyze activity and visits and spending, are an important part of new economic development of generating, new demand for other, retail uses, that can benefit both that new activity, that new development, as well as, benefit the existing community as well. So yeah, I mean, that's certainly a component of economic development efforts, for sure.
yeah, thank you. So what I'm gonna do, council, is we're gonna move on, so with the comments, and then I know that obviously this is a larger discussion, so we'll have some recommendations so we can come back. I know there's a full report, that provides us with more extensive details. But we'll make a recommendation in terms of how we can come back to really get a larger brief on this, data set,
Okay.
and then how we extract this and what we put together into a work plan.
Yeah, and keep in mind, there's a special section that just talks about Soledad. Do you have the report? Right now, it's on our website. I can email it to you and
Yeah.
to the council tomorrow.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
be great.
Okay.
And I think this is, Mayor, if I can add, we're looking to lock down a strategic planning
Yeah.
facilitator, and this will help us kind of think about what we want to do for economic development, what our priorities are. So thank you for this presentation and something we can look forward to when we have that discussion.
Yeah, thank you. Councilmember Ansaldo Sanchez?
Yes, bear with me. Oh, I turned this off. Bear with me, my thoughts were a little jumbled, but it's basically a similar thought process with tourism growth. I think one of the things that I'm really interested in exploring more that you brought up is that marketing piece and the branding piece. I think that's something that might be a little bit lacking for a lot of the cities here in South County. I know that we have Pinnacles National Park as one of the major drivers that we can have people come here. There's another thing that I've thought about as well, and I think some other folks too, is maybe how to incorporate other things about the community that make it interesting. I'm thinking like, I know Salinas does Steinbach, and we are also part of Steinbach, and I want to see a little bit more of that as well. And it's interesting too, yesterday I was actually at the Windmill restaurant with my cousin for lunch, and we met a couple that is from Menlo Park, and they say that every time that they visit their daughter in SLO County and they're driving back to Menlo Park, they always stop at Windmill. So I want to see like what's driving these folks. How do they hear about like our town and what drives them to stay here? And I want to be able to keep that going, because that wasn't the first time that I've had a conversation like that. I had another couple said that they just randomly looked up Chinese food and then they went to the new place that just opened for Fortune Garden as well, and they really enjoyed it. And so I want to see how we can continue driving that going on as well. And I want to see how we can maybe work with Caltrans to have some of these items a little bit outside of our jurisdiction of what we can do. Another thing that I was thinking too is, you know, again, we don't have the jurisdiction for this, but like driving into Soledad, all I see is porta potties, and who wants to stop at a town that's porta potties, you know? And it's really frustrating, especially as a resident that's proud of their community, driving in and seeing porta potties right at the heart of the town. And then it made me think, why is it all dirt? Like, why don't we have like nice like shrubs, bushes, trees, or something to like make it look nice going in? You're entering Soledad, I guess you're going southbound. And because I think it's something that I see a lot of other smaller towns. It's really nice, you know, but if we don't own that property, it's really hard to do that. But I'm thinking of these pieces of how to draw folks in, especially from the 101, if all they really see is just like a strip of dirt, you know. So just some of these items on how to like better market and better brand our small town. I think that's something that we haven't really been seeing, and I see a lot of other smaller towns, just up the 101 that are doing a really good job. I know Gilroy does a really good job, Morgan Hill does a really good job, and we're about a similar size. And, you know, I also wanna think about how we attract more, national retailers as well. I mean, our region's half the size of Salinas, so that's probably why it's a little bit more difficult. But I'm wondering how we can draw that, especially as we're growing, as we're increasing in size and we annex new land. And in 20 years, Soledad's probably gonna look a lot different than it does now. And I just want to make sure that we're setting ourselves and future folks here on the dais for success. But I really do want to kind of, in a roundabout way, just to really focus on that marketing aspect for sure, and see what we can do as a city to draw folks in.
Thank you.
Bob, do you wanna have any comments on the council members' thoughts?
Sure, yeah, I can provide a couple comments. You know, marketing activities are a big component like you said, for attracting tourists, attracting visitors, you know, I really think there's a few different components to this. It can mean the city developing a marketing plan, a marketing vision. The city can also participate in marketing exercises, such as going to conferences like ICSC to market specific opportunities to market the city to retailers and to developers. And then, you know, finally, I think one of the components that I'll you know, note as well is I think it's often sometimes about helping local businesses, particularly small businesses, better market their businesses and present a vision of their business in the best way that they can, you know, particularly through online resources. So there are a number of cities that we've worked with who will, if not do it themselves, partner with another group to help build some of that technical expertise with local businesses and you know, perhaps organize workshops, for instance, to help local businesses, you know, better set up their marketing channels online. So all of those types of activities can really come together and help a city and help the city's businesses better market themselves and put themselves out there to both tourists as well as regional visitors as well as community members.
Thanks, Bob. If I can add 2 points to that on your point about marketing. One is when the Building Business Back team was talking to Soledad businesses and others, we find a big digital literacy problem, right? People don't know how to do it themselves. We had discussions about, does it make sense for us to put together a guide so people see what restaurants and other services are available? But the reality is people just go to Google. So what we did at the Business Council was become certified business partners with Google to help the businesses that are here put themselves online at no cost. And that's what our staff is doing on Mondays at the Gateway Center. We're available to help people do that. So that's at the individual business level. And then at the higher level of bringing marketing in, I listened to a presentation today from Rob O'Keefe from C Monterey, where they were talking about some of the innovative things that they've done. They had 50 people come from a company called The Points Guy, which I hadn't heard of, but apparently it's this big company. They have 9 million impressions online every month or every year. And they had them all come to Monterey County, and they had an experience where they took them out and let these influencers go kayaking, and I think they came down to South County as well, but doing things like that. So I would say, as Bob said in his presentation, strengthening the relationships with C Monterey and having them help us market would be another thing that we should emphasize. So
yeah, thank you. And I know obviously this is, you know, we've been waiting for the data and the outcome. So I want to say thank you so much for providing this. And I would like to see this, as Megan said, I know we have an opportunity for the council to come back and have a goal setting session, but I think because economic development is such a big issue, a big item, I think a workshop is really critical, especially to be able to develop a work plan that is, you know, somewhat separate. And maybe it's related, but also I think it's a work plan in itself in terms of how do you capture all of this data, taking some of those really critical key points that were provided in the report, putting it together in a work plan in terms of what we've already been doing, because we have the partnerships, obviously, with some of those resources, but also what are we missing, right? Because there's a lot that we're still not, that we can still do that we're not doing. But I think when I look at some of the challenges in terms of the regional, the regional scale, and when we look at, you know, the broader picture where it talks about, if we look at the 75,000 population versus just the lens of Soledad, for me, it's why are we not attracting some of those businesses that we want to attract? Because we keep hearing we don't have the population size. But then when you look at the opportunities and you say, hey, well, we need to have more housing projects to drive more of the support for local retail. But then I know living here, you know, growing up here, I've seen the development in housing but that has not equated to the same level of the retail. So you have a lot of people that have lived here for many years and we're seeing the housing development, but we're not seeing the growth in retail. And so we've had reports in the past that have said, hey, here's a leakage of sales tax because people are not shopping here because we've grown in housing, but we haven't grown in retail. So we don't have those amenities for our residents. So it's how do you balance that? We want to grow the housing, but how do we bring in the retail that's needed at the same time, and that we're not continuing to grow housing, but we're not bringing what the residents need here. So I think for me, that's been, you know, how do we do that and how do we make that happen? So we're not doing one over the other. And then on the competitive retail rates, we are seeing already now, Paul, that what we do have that on some of these, especially on Front Street, the rental rates for small businesses, they're high. And people can't afford that, not for a small business. So, you know, it's how do you manage some of that also, that you're looking at some of those, you want people to come, but if you're looking at small businesses, they can't afford some of those rents that, you know, people are asking for here. So how do you balance that? And I totally agree that we have to be able to encourage more of the blended use developments. And I think we're looking at the residential units along retail spaces and how do we really maximize that? I know we've had discussions before in terms of how do you do retail and housing and, you know, be able to look at our city in a different way to attract people and build downtowns where people are walking, right? And they're living and building different spaces. So I think in terms of that, we're moving toward that vision, but I think for me, it's also, you mentioned the clusters of competition that we have in Salinas and we have in Monterey, but you also mentioned that there's specific retail that can come here, but it's how do we attract that retail? Maybe we're attracting the wrong retail. How do we know what type of retail? Because when I drive down 5, and I've been driving down that corridor since I was a little girl, and when I see up the Grapevine and you saw all of a sudden these outlets that popped up into Home Pass, you're like, are you kidding me? Who's gonna come? And then you're like, wow,
They're huge.
they're huge. I stop by every time I go, right? And they're full every time. So it's like, okay, so if you build them, they'll come, but are we building? Are we not looking at the right kind of, you know, retail? So what type of retail should we be looking at? So that way, when we're asking our team to go out and go to these places to attract the retail, what are those retail that are willing to come to our region where we're not competing with some of those clusters that exist? So I think for me, you know, looking at that, and then you talked about the tourism. And I know we have, you know, we have the C Monterey contract already, or we have the partnership, not the contract. I think we have to strengthen our partnership with C Monterey because I was part of the board, but I know it's been really busy and I know we have to continue to have a better partnership with them because they have the skills, they have the tools, they have the people, they have the marketing. So how do we tap into them a lot better? To help us? And we had before a tourism with the Pinnacles who was helping to do some of that to attract it, but how do we sustain some of those? So we're not just doing some spots here and there and we're not really sustaining that. And then we also had 2 major articles with the wine enthusiast. And then, you know, we had a major article that featured Soledad as one of the 10, what was it? Small best cities to live. And we as a city didn't market that. You know, our small businesses didn't use that as a marketing tool. So
I think, Mayor, you raised a lot of very interesting points. I'll just comment on 1 or 2 of them. Bob did talk in his presentation about the changing nature of retail. Notwithstanding having the problems with the challenge of the fewer population in the area, even, I mean, we all know about the difficulties with people when people can order stuff online, and that's certainly affecting us in this area as well. Toward your point about how do we make this actionable, so the South County Roundtable, our next session will be Our last section was a detailed 2-hour dive into all this. And the next one will be, okay, what do we do with that? How do we use it? And if the council would like, we can certainly talk with Megan and her team about whether you want to bring back Bob to be present as you do your planning sections. We can certainly talk about that. And I just want to highlight again, that this report and what we're doing subsequently is coming at no direct cost to the city of Soledad. It's being paid for through the county of Monterey and our partnership with the Business Council. And a big focus of that was for us to help South County. And this is one of the things that we wanted to do, and we'll continue to be here for you however we can. So, and the Small Business Development Center, of course, we're here now here as well. So we've got a few pieces that are coming together that we're working to help you with to resolve some of these problems that didn't arrive yesterday and won't be solved tomorrow, but maybe a little by little, we can help you make progress.
Yeah, and thank you so much. And I think for all of us, I mean, obviously you heard all these different concerns that all of us have, you know, with different lenses that we see through, you know, our different, you know, experiences. But I would love for this, because it's a lot of great data, is how do we formulate that into an actionable action work plan for the next 2 years? So we could see, we know it's not gonna be solved, you know, we have a lot of different small pieces that we can work on. But I think because we've done so many different little things, how do we put it in a package?
You will see when you dive into the data, we also asked them, we wanted specific voids in the retail in South County. What are we missing? What could we attract? And they're able to use all of this intelligence that's out there now to say, okay, if you have a Dutch Brothers, what types of companies usually co-locate with different businesses? So I think you'll see some of that detail within the report. And then again, we can certainly have a follow-up so that it's actionable and helps us progress.
Perfect. Yeah, and Mayor, if I may add, we actually have hired, as I think you know, you approved the contract, MCBC and Cosmot, to take a deep dive on how we can make the container village feasible. So we are going to be bringing back the item just for some direction from you. We also know that, you know, that if you dive into that data, it actually is really specific about what population size you need, what they're looking for in terms of footprint of even property or co-location, as Paul indicated. So we have been looking at that data. I'm pleased to say that there is interest. We have a Tractor Supply that the permits have or the plans have been approved. We have the Panda Express, which hopefully will open projected in December, hopefully, depending on power. And we also have a huge interest from a hotel. So believe it or not, they're actually, the hotels that we have are they have over capacity. They have a very small vacancy rate. So there are interests from potential hotels to locate here. So we are looking in, I think what Soledad position to be, it is of the 4 cities, the most accessible off the freeway and the most visible. So I think there's a lot of interest for quick serve restaurants. And that's one of the reasons why I think Dutch Brothers has done so well, because it's really easy to get, you know, if you're coming up the 101 to get there. So that I know that we also want to serve the community too, but there are some opportunities that are presenting themselves. But I think that the idea of having some kind of study session with council on economic development makes a lot of sense. So we can work on that. Yeah.
And Dutch Brothers, I don't drink coffee, but people are clearly addicted to that stuff.
Yeah.
Whatever it
Yeah,
is they're
well,
selling.
you need to stop by before you leave.
I'm gonna start my coffee habit now. So I know it's almost 8 o'clock. I want to thank Bob for
Thank you,
sticking
Bob.
with us and giving the presentation and all the work you've been doing.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right,
Thank
Bob,
you.
we'll let you go now with our thanks.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Paul.
Yes, of course.
That was a good way to kind of handle that technology glitch.
Bubble gum and tail.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, yeah, exciting stuff. I know there's a lot more to come, so thank you, council. Okay, so we'll move on now to our next item of business. And let me just get to my report. So we'll move on now to our,
That helps.
presentation on the Salinas Valley State routes to school. Oh, okay, perfect. So I'll turn this over to Alex.
No.
Gonna tell you, you took the trick or treat.
Is there anyone calling in to comment?
No, it'll
Okay.
be all coming through us.
Woohoo!
Okay, good. Go ahead, let me take it.
Introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, council, Mayor Velasquez, Alex Ramos with the Public Works Department, Assistant Engineer. Happy to present this item and more importantly, present our speaker for tonight to give a quick presentation on the Salinas Valley Safe Routes to School Plan.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Amelia Conlin. I'm a senior planner with the Transportation Agency for Monterey County. Here to present to you on the draft Salinas Valley Safe Routes to Schools plan and hear any input that you may have on the draft plan. So the Transportation Agency for Monterey County, or TAMC, has set a goal that all of the schools in Monterey County be covered by Safe Routes to Schools plan. The Salinas Valley plan is the third plan that we've worked on and covers 22 public schools in the 4 Salinas Valley cities. This plan could not have happened without our partners. It's a partnership between TAMC, the Monterey County Health Department, Nonprofit Ecology Action, the 4 cities, and the 5 school districts. And the plan was funded through a grant from Caltrans, as well as local Measure X matching funds. And we tried something new with the Safe Routes to Schools plan, which was the formation of steering committees in each of the Salinas Valley cities. Those steering committees met for 9 months and led a participatory budgeting process that culminated in a community election on the highest priority projects that came out of this planning process. I know you've received presentations on this in the past. TAMC has allocated $250,000 per city to construct some of the projects, the highest priority projects that came out of each election process. And so that was a way for us to have some more immediate improvements that come out of this very long-term planning process. So the big goals of this plan are to develop a list of recommendations to help improve safety for people walking and biking in Soledad. And if we can encourage more students and families to walk and bike to school, we can help reduce the traffic congestion that we see around every school in Monterey County, as far as I know. And we can also help build some daily exercise into students' routines, improve student health. And another major goal of this plan is to support future grant applications. Having gone through this process, done community outreach, and having an adopted plan in place helps make Salinas Valley cities more competitive when you're applying for future grant funding. Okay. So this has been a 3-year planning process, and it really was driven by the issues that we heard from community members wanting to see addressed in this plan. We started outreach in Soledad in fall of 2022. We sent out a parent survey through the school districts. We gave presentations at parent meetings. We held walking audits at each of the school sites where we observed some morning drop off or afternoon pickup and met with school staff and public works staff to talk about the safety issues around each school. And we turned all of that information into a list of recommendations. So basically collected data on the problem areas that people wanted to see addressed, and then came up with infrastructure and program recommendations for each of those locations in Soledad. We also have the steering committee, which met over the course of 9 months. And we also held a pilot project last fall, about a year ago, which was an opportunity to test out one of the recommendations from the plan and get community feedback. And that took place on Front Street in September, I believe, of 2023. This year, we've been working on the draft plan, and we expect to be back before you in January with the final plan and asking for you to adopt. So over the course of the last 3 years, we've given 12 presentations at parent meetings to ask about safety issues that they're concerned about and to share the draft recommendations and get their feedback. We received 208 responses to our parent survey and 1,800 responses to a student survey, which is pretty awesome. We did that through the help of the district. We received 119 responses to the pilot project survey on Front Street and 246 community votes during the participatory budgeting elections process. So we've really been focused on getting feedback from the community through every step of this process. So the plan that is in your packet includes high-level goals and objectives for the future of Safe Routes to Schools in Soledad. It includes a list of prioritized corridors. The major grant funding sources for bike and pedestrian projects are really looking for big projects, not a single intersection, sometimes not even a single street, but really how can you provide a transformative project that may include several different corridors. So we've looked at different Safe Routes to Schools corridors within Soledad and prioritized those streets based on that grant criteria. We've developed citywide corridor recommendations for things like bike facilities and trails. And there's a list of infrastructure and program recommendations included in the plan for each school site. Far too many for me to go through on tonight's presentation. And this plan is really meant as a tool for the city to use to help prioritize projects, to have a comprehensive project list to work from, and to help make you more competitive to apply for grant funding to construct the projects in this plan. There are some projects that can be constructed as the city is doing regular road maintenance. That's the least expensive way to implement these projects by installing new crosswalks, potentially upgrading a bike lane while you're already repaving streets. And it also may be feasible to implement projects in a quick build style using paint and posts, which is less expensive. TMC is interested in funding quick build projects, and we are already in conversation with city staff about potential projects in Soledad that might be a good fit. So just to say that projects in this plan will be funded over time. You know, there's not a pot of funds at the ready to construct the projects in this plan, but it is a tool that the city can use to fund projects through regular maintenance, apply for grants through TMC, and apply for state grants to help to construct these projects over time. So with that, I will conclude my presentation, and I would love to hear any questions that you have about the plan or any feedback that you have about anything in the draft plan document.
Thank you so much for all the information. And I know, as you said, we've been hearing about this plan for quite some time now, and all of the extensive process, and especially the extensive participatory process that has gone into this. So before I bring it to the council, let me take it out to the public to see if there's any comments from the public. And there's no one from our public here in our chambers. So let me see if there's anyone from, and I'm seeing a nod. So there's no one in our public via Zoom. So let me close that public portion of the public comment period, and then we bring our public comment section, and then we bring it back to the council. And I'll start with Councilmember Gonzalo Sanchez.
Yes, thank you. I think this comes at an interesting point in my life because yesterday I was walking on, I believe, Vista de Soledad and Entrada, and I was grazed by a car. So I actually had to put my hands on their driver's side because they didn't see me, which is wild because the car in front of them rolled through the intersection, and the car behind them did not see me, and it literally, like, I kid you not, like, it was wild, and it was at 7:50 a.m. So people are walking their kids to school, and I live by Frank Ledesma. So I was thinking, like, well, if this is how we're driving in the morning, and I'm just on a walk because I wanted to be healthy. And now what about, like, folks that are walking their kids to school, or kids that are walking by themselves? If people aren't paying attention to what they're doing, if they're in a hurry for work, it can cause a serious accident. So with that being said, I am interested in specifically traffic congestion. Because I know that just the way our city is built, there's a school on every major street of our city that causes a lot of traffic. And it makes it difficult to want to do projects, or not to want to do projects, but to get projects started if we don't really have much communication with our school board. I've been on this council for almost 9 months and I've never met with the school board, and I think that's very strange. I think other cities work really well with their school boards. But I'm glad to hear that they are participating. But I would really like to have some sort of communication to have better flow of traffic congestion during the morning so that folks are safe. Again, I live by Frank and Soledad High School, so when I'm trying to drive during school time, like one entire lane is backed up with cars. So I think this would be a really great opportunity to have more people walk. You know, we're still a small town. I don't know. I don't think people that live my neighborhood need to really drive to the schools because they're right there. I think we could use walking, and I'm really excited to have our MST expansion. Hopefully that'll also have more folks use those facilities to get around town instead of driving for that traffic congestion piece. But this is really exciting, and I'm excited to see this because this also is a way to beautify our city and like a really good back to the marketing piece, make it look really nice. So this is really cool. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Cabrera.
Thank you for all the work, and I love this project from the first time that I heard about it. I've been in a couple of those meetings, and I see that participation, the parent participation, the desire to have something that make them feel safe, make them feel like their children are safe, and that participation from the students particularly is interesting because we usually don't consider their opinion, and having them participate in this project makes you think that we have a community that they will participate and that they will make you or make us responsible for something. You know? Like they can, with that, you know that they're looking at the things that we do. And that is amazing that our children, our parents are participating. And thank you because what is it that you said? Walking audit. So what walking audit, and that is what actually do. You're basing a program in the people that actually need it. You know, you're looking at people that are actually gonna use that and see how they react and their participation. So thank you so much. It is beautiful. Last time I saw them, doing the presentation in Tamsi, and I'm pretty proud of all the work that you guys do. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for this. I have a couple of questions, and I mean, I know you guys have done a lot of work, and you know, the commute trends are pretty horrific. I just have to say, I know that obviously we have, you know, a lot of our residents commute out, but even just in terms of, you know, the 11% of our Soledad residents that carpool to work, I mean, it's very, very low. And I know obviously our region we live in a rural region, and I think that comes with part of that, but 2% of our community walks and less than 1% bikes. I know that we've been trying to create more of the spaces where we can bike and walk, and I think that's the whole purpose of this, right? So that way we can encourage more, and as Councilmember Sanchez said, I mean, we're trying to do more of that and creating those spaces, and I think, you know, we'll continue to do that, and this gives us an opportunity. I just think, you know, some of the identifications of the priority corridors are really critical, but because most of those are next to schools, I think it is imperative that we work with the school district, because the city can do its part, but I think we also want to work with the school district to do their part. And, you know, some of those crosswalks and some of those corridors are within the school area, and some of those, you know, we could do the crosswalks, but we also need the school to be able to reconfigure some of the ways that the you know, that our residents go in to be able to drop off the kids, right? I mean, all of that design is sometimes just really difficult. So I think it's really important to be able to also work with the school district, and if we're gonna have funding to be able to address some of these issues, is how do we do it in a partnership? So it's not isolated. I know we've been talking, at least we've had these conversations in the past about, is it possible to have the school district stagger some of their start times from the school so we don't have that congestion in all of the different corridors that get congested in the morning, because we have Gavilan, we have, you know, the high school, San Vicente, then we have Orchard, and so all of that is people are coming and people are trying to get to work, and that's a time that all of the schools are impacted, right? And so we've had different accidents. As a matter of fact, I was getting ready to get to work this morning. I got a knock on my door, and it was my neighbor saying, hey, I'm sorry to, you know, come at this hour in the morning, but I just want to share with you that I almost got into an accident right now. You know, I was at Gavilan and West because they're doing some construction work and everybody's going really fast, and they're closing the lanes, and that's probably not the best time to close the lanes because people are going fast, and my child almost got hit, and that just didn't happen to me, but it happened to someone the day before. And so there's a lot of traffic. And so how do we address some of that as our city is growing, is making sure that we're also looking at other ways to work with the school district to see, is there an opportunity? I know Salinas does it, so it's not like it can't be done. So I think these are the conversations. As Tansy, you have the money and we're able to work through you, is, you know, how can we have those conversations in a positive manner to be able to say, what are some of the other instruments that we can utilize to be able to better, you know, address some of the traffic congestion that we have. And this gives us an opportunity because most of these prioritizations of those corridors are next to school districts.
We will be giving this presentation to the district as well. We worked most closely with principals on this plan, and there are recommendations in the plan for school parking lots and for changes to how traffic flows through the school parking lots. So the on-road and the on-campus recommendations are definitely meant to work together. And I think there is opportunity to coordinate those improvements.
Yeah, and I think it'll be important because I know with a lot of that enforcement, with a lot of that, when they call our enforcement to be able to do some of that enforcement when the parents aren't going the right way, or there's a lot of traffic and speeders during that time. And so it impacts both the school district and it impacts our residents, right? So those are just my comments in terms of, I think this is great, but it gives us an opportunity to have real conversations about real solutions as we move forward with really utilizing the 250,000 to address some of the concerns. Great, thank you. Okay, so with that, council, if we don't have any other comments, then we will just accept the presentation on the Salinas Valley Safe Routes to School. And thank you so much, Alex, and thank you so much for working on this. I know it's been in the works for several years. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for that, and for being a great partner.
Thank you.
Say kudos to the Tansy staff, who've been wonderful.
Yeah, thank you.
Through the chair, I did want to ask Alex a quick question. Are these improvements part of the ATP application that was submitted?
The projects in here are separate from the ATP.
Oh, okay.
They all coalesce, right? We're seeking various funding sources and opportunities to improve safety along multiple corridors. Some may look similar because a lot of improvements kind of fit in a lot of locations, but they should be different.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Alex. Thank you for all your great work as well. Okay, so we'll move on then to our next item of business, and this is item number 2, resolution number 6172, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Soledad approving a contract change order for construction services with Monterey Peninsula Engineering for the amount of $123,000 plus a 20% construction contingency for a total not to exceed the amount of $147,000 for the Front Street Maintenance Project, and authorizing the city manager to execute said contract change order on behalf of the City of Soledad. So I will turn it over to Alex since I see you standing at the podium, Alex.
So here for this time. But good afternoon, everyone. Once again, good evening, Council, Mayor Velasquez. I'm Alex Ramos, Assistant Engineer with the City of Soledad Public Works Department. So I'm really excited to have this item before you guys. As you may already know, we have all the ongoing work for Front Street has been going really well. With the recent completion of a lot of the concrete work, the removal of the trees, it's really progressing smoothly, and I don't have a voice, so I hope, thinking is going that way. When we awarded the construction services contract with MPE, we had briefly mentioned it in our staff report and during the item that we were in discussions of, with the contractor for enhancements along the corridor. And one of those enhancements was really providing all these utilities to these Soledad owned parcels along Front Street. That's those vacant lots where one of them is currently proposed for the future container village, the other one, they're using it as a staging lot, and then the park and ride location there. So those areas all have utilities. The only thing that was missing was electrical, right? So as part of this change order, we were talking with the contractor to see if we can run 2 4-inch conduits across Front Street. This will really help us incentivize and really bring a development-friendly title to these Soledad on parcels along Front Street. This enables us to do a lot of the work up front and really promote them as development-friendly. It already has water and sewer, which will the remaining thing. This also saves us the unfortunate cost of seeing the street beat up again to run that electrical conduit across the way. But essentially, this item is really to bring future power to the proposed container village and the other vacant lot that hopefully will be developed into something else, as well as a parking lot area. So with that being said, I'd be happy to entertain any questions the council may have.
Okay, thank you. So let me take it out to the members of the public that are joining us. If there's anyone that's joining us via Zoom that'd like to make a comment on business item number 2. Is there any members of the public? No? Okay, so I'll bring it back to the council to see if there's any questions, and I'll start with our questions or comments for Alex, and I'll start with Councilmember Cabrera.
Just a comment, sure, that's a praying and thank you so much.
I can't steal the credit.
Well, for all of you guys, not just you.
It was a team effort.
Yeah, it's a demonstration of a vision for the future, yes, thanks.
I only have a quick question, and it's the 20% contingency. I feel like I've seen 10% in the past, so I'm just curious if this is just normal.
If I may answer it, typically, actually, for construction, you typically do 20% contingency, but we have, I think, staff has been doing 10%, and we've been going over our contingency, so I suggested that we do 20%, which is more consistent with best practice.
And if I can add on to Megan's point, not only that, but we also, it was news to me, I didn't know Front Street used to be the old Highway 101. So there's a lot of things that, yes, so there's a lot of things that are, left to be encountered as we trench through the street, and we may discover something we weren't anticipating. So that contingency allows us to really work that in and make it work, so we don't have to come back, wait, and, go through the process again.
Well, I'm glad I asked because I learned something.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Whatever, I'm just wondering.
Yeah, and well, that's good. Yeah, and I always thought it was 10% as well. So thank you, because I know there's always contract change orders, so it's good to know. Why we have a lot of contract change orders, so thank you. Yeah, no, I don't have any questions either. I think this is great. So if we can already have it ready, so once it's done, and we don't have to. So I just want to make sure, because whatever we need to do, so we don't have to, we're already getting into and excavating and doing whatever we're doing out there to break concrete, that we don't have to do that again for those sites. So I just want to make sure that we, as we're thinking about this, that we thought about everything else, that we don't have to go back and say, oh, we forgot this, and now we have to go back and do it again. So just wanting to make sure all of that has been thought out, and we don't, there's no You guys aren't gonna come back later and say we forgot about something else.
Hopefully not, right? But now, when we brought this, when we were thinking about this contract change, or we were thinking of all the possible ways to do all the legwork up front, as we said, we don't wanna, pave and then open up the streets again, that'd be a shame, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful product and, now you have a patch.
Okay, okay,
And one thing I will just give council the heads up is we are looking at coming back for some additional enhancements, include most specifically including enhanced crosswalk, so to this project. But because we want to get this going because of the paving, we're moving forward with this. And that's to add something, not a change order per se to, that's caused by like the community center when we've had surprises in the way, so.
yeah, but Megan, we've already talked about, I mean, we're doing the decorative crosswalks, art lighting, but the lighting's already, I mean, we've already talked about that as part of the whole infrastructure project, so that's not coming back to us as an additional request, because I thought we're doing that already as part of the downtown.
So the base project for Front Street was to look at the sidewalks, curbs, gutters. It's really a maintenance project. The tree lighting and all that additional is part of the enhancements, not part of the maintenance project.
Through the chair, were you referring to the upgrades to the existing lights that are being
Oh, I'm
converted to
sorry.
LEDs?
Misunderstood. Yes, the street lights are part of the main project. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, those are.
okay, good, I was a little concerned, okay. Okay, so it'll come back up for others, but at least for this, we're good, okay. Okay, council, if there's no additional questions on this, then I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution number 6172.
I move to approve resolution 1672.
Second.
So I have a motion on the floor with a first from Councilmember Ansaldo and a second by Councilmember Cabrera. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, so motion carries on a 3-0. Okay, so we'll move on to our next item on the agenda, which is resolution number 6173, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Solid. Thank you, Alex. Sorry. I'd say thank you so much for the work on this. And we're excited to see all the transformation in our downtown. Resolution number 6173, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Soledad approving a contract change order for construction services with David Construction and Management, Inc. And the amount of 66,287 plus a 20% construction contingency of 13,260 for a total not to exceed of 79,547 for the Soledad Community Center Building Modernization Project and authorizing the city manager to execute contract change order on behalf of the City of Soledad, and I will turn it back over to Alex.
Hello, everyone, once again. Good evening, council. Mayor Velasquez, Alex Ramos, assistant engineer with the City of Soledad Public Works Department. I'm here for this contract change order and hopefully the last contract change order. But I'm also going to be giving a brief presentation on the community center project, just an overall update, change orders today, some of the alt work, and really all the things encompassed as part of this project. But without further ado, as I mentioned, I'll be talking about the background, the base bid project, the current update on the kitchen, updates on the change orders, the alt work as part of this project, and then the remaining items that are encompassed in this change order. So as you guys may be aware, the community center was constructed in 1993. And the YMCA was the ones overseeing the facility for a long time. Ultimately, it was switched over to the City of Soledad, and now we're the ones leading it overall, in charge of the facility. Jessica's department does a great job, they're phenomenal. But as you guys may have seen and witnessed while visiting the facility, it's in dire need of a lot of upgrades and repairs, and really that's the genesis of this project, right? Is, various replacements and repairs have been taken over the years, but nothing really, to bring it up to code %. So with that being said, staff in collaboration with Institute of Architecture did an assessment of the facility to see what needs to be brought up to code, with a lot of the emphasis in the kitchen, the gym, the stage, the multi-purpose rooms, of the facility as a whole, right? But with with that, and then we came back for council approval of the construction services contract with David Construction for the total not to exceed the 169,000, on April 9, 2024. The project was put out to bid, right, to encompass a lot of elements, but we really had to dial it down, right? So the base bid included the kitchen remodel, the stage lift. Luckily, we received that T-Mobile grant and the amount of 50,000 to also help fund that, stage lighting and electrical. And I want to say the kitchen was a really big priority because we do have a lot of sponsored events here, city, private, and the kitchen is always heavily used, and it's a great opportunity and, you know, opportunity to also provide to the community here in Soledad. So quick update on the kitchen remodel. If I can direct everyone's attention to the floor, that's a really nice looking floor. It's an epoxy floor. It's currently in the process of being finished. The curing process has already been completed, and we're looking forward to the final installation of the kitchen equipment before it gets ultimately painted. And we're scheduled to complete all that work, hopefully sometime within either late this week or early next week. Contract change orders to date, we've unfortunately had a few contract change orders come to the councils for approval. In undertaking this project, we have experienced numerous challenges with a lot of things that were unknown as we embarked on this journey. There's a lot of things that were not necessarily included in our as-built, and it resulted in some accidents occurring, one of them being a water line break. And that resulted in some of the change order costs associated with some of these items. Not only that, but when we started opening up the walls, we found a lot of mold, too much mold to be exact. And that involved a lot of mold remediation, that's kills, red guard. We experienced a lot of wood rot as well, and wood rot is very nasty looking. So we've had to do various improvements to remedy, replace, and all that good stuff. And we've come to council a few times to, you know, get that work done and completed as part of this project. Not only that, but we've also had a contract change order under number 3 here for additional work for the gym lighting and winches, which is my next slide here. We actually just completed the basketball winches installations. They're fully functional. It's really great to see them operational. I think, if I'm not mistaken, during the event, they were actually up. So it was really nice to see that we have this and we can provide this commodity to the community as well. It also helps alleviate some of the burden of individually wheeling these up for Jessica's staff as we used to do before, and we can throw them all up simultaneously. It's really neat. So apart from the base bid project that we threw out, we also were looking at seeing if we can potentially do some of these alternative work. We had 3 as part of the package. We ultimately went with alternative 1, which was for the gym lighting and the gym winches. And we're currently working on the gym and the stage lighting as we speak now. So change order 5, the item here for tonight of discussion, consideration for council for approval, is actually for the electrical infrastructure found inside the gym. As I mentioned previously, the as-built reflect one thing, but you go out there and you look into it and it doesn't coincide. We were supposed to have an inverter inside the gym, the little concession stand next to the stage. And when we went to go do the exploratory work to go confirm that, it's not there. So unfortunately, when we did change order number 4, I'm gonna go ahead and switch back. We were considering installing PowerPack modules. That's a fancy way of saying these little equipments that we attach to the lights to be in compliance with Title 24 lighting requirements under the California State Building Code. Once we start touching the electrical and the lightings, we had to bring all this stuff into compliance. One of the ways we were going to do that was through these PowerPack modulars. The unfortunate thing is they were based and ordered under the assumption that we had an inverter, and that wasn't the case. So we were speaking to our electrical team and contractor to come up with a solution. The solution is, instead of using the inverter, we're gonna do an install in any battery pack. And this enables us to meet the requirement, satisfy the PowerPack modular's needs, and then get this all in requirement for the Title 24 lighting requirements in the California Building Code. Not only that, but in looking at the electrical infrastructure, we noticed that our existing emergency lighting is tied to a light switch inside the gym, meaning like a light switch like near the doors, right? If you were to flip that off and an emergency outage kicks in, the emergency lights don't turn on. And that's a big deal. We really need to get that fixed under this change order, and that's why we included it here. The purpose of that is, the remedy for that is we're gonna be rewiring a lot of that circuits, so it's on a hot light wire, and it'll be ultimately connected with the emergency exits that we have now that will also be replaced as part of this project. With that being said, there's been a numerous amount of challenges, like I mentioned before, and this change order number 5 encompasses not only the issues that have been identified with the electrical, but also some of the additional items. We just got all new doors. One of the items in this change order is to have them all rekeyed. It'd be a shame to have different sets of keys for staff, and in an emergency, they need to start pulling unique keys for certain doors. We want to have a whole master set of keys that her team can have that opens up any door at any time in case they need to access whatever they may need inside of the facility. But with that being said, I'd be happy to answer any questions the council may have with regards to this change order.
Thank you, Alex, for explaining all that information and for putting together that PowerPoint to explain all the different change orders and issues that happen with the facility. So let me take it out to the public for those that are joining us via Zoom. Is there anyone have any comments? Okay, so let me bring it back to the council to see if there's any questions or comments, and I'll start with Councilmember Ansaldo Sanchez.
Yeah, I think my comment has to do with the amount of change orders. It's fine. I just want to say it just so that the community is aware how much we are investing in you and in the community. This change order brings it up. I just did the math, brings it up to about $400,000, and that's really what we're investing in all of you. So we really hope that you hear it, see it, and are taking advantage of our wonderful community center. I was reading in the staff report that there would also be in this change order the ADA push buttons. Is that still true? I didn't see it in the presentation. Okay, cool. Yeah, and I think I'm in favor of the master rekeying. I think that's something that's important as somebody that works for a university. Right. Everything's electric fob, so it's easy for us, and I can't imagine not being able to have that when we're doing all these events, right? And running around trying to figure out how to open a door would not be cool. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Cabrera?
Just a comment that the front door, and sometimes I cannot even open it. So that is an excellent job, and thinking about the people, so the people can have access. And we have a lot of seniors that go there, so it's particularly important that they have access and they don't have to be pushing to open a door that has been 37 years there, and it's really heavy. So thank you so much for all those improvements. I mean, it is not just how much is the value that we give to our city. It's not we're investing because we value our residents and their safety. Exactly. Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Alex, for the information. I think for me, I just also have to comment, it's always hard to see all the different change orders, and what I'd like to see is I'd like to see one pager or I don't know if it could be in one page, but I think it's important for us to be able to ensure that our community knows all of the work that has been done in the community center in the last couple of years. And I think we have to share that story, and that we can articulate, here's all of the different work that has gone into the community center, all of the different work that we've done to improve the community center since we took it on as part of the voters that approved the Measure S. And we have now a recreation department that the city operates. We knew that it was going to be a lot of money, and that there was going to be a big investment. I hope that the investment initially is with that, it'll continue to trickle down, and that we don't need to continue to invest this much more, because we want to invest in other things as well. But I understand that we're looking at the things that were not fixed for many years and we're trying to fix that now. But that I think it's important for our community to understand, here's what we have done, here's the money that has been utilized. And then what has come from our Measure S, what has come from ARPA dollars, where have the funding sources come from? Because I think it's important that we share that story with our residents of what we've been able to approve. And as Councilmember Salvo Sanchez said, it's an investment in them, right? So it's important that they know, here's what we've tried to approve, because we know it's a really important facility for our community. And that we, you know, that we look at that, and then that also I know that there's a lot more that we can do to it, but I think it's important for us to be able to look at how do we phase those improvements in the future, because I think we have a lot of other projects that we want to make sure that we also fund. Because we can continue to put more money into it if we open up more walls and try to, you know. There's gonna be more that we can find, and, you know, I think it's initial finding those priority issues and then moving on, you know, because it's been a lot of money already, and I think it's important that we look at that. I think the other thing also, for me is, you know, raising that awareness, but also I think the other thing that we want to make sure that we let our public know is the community center becomes really instrumental when we have the PSP shutoffs, because that becomes our cooling center. But then also that becomes our emergency operations center.
It's our shelter.
It's our shelter, it's our emergency shelter. So that way, I think it's important for our community to know, like, this investment is really critical, because it not only serves as a community center for recreation, but it also serves these other purposes that are really important when we need it. That's what we want to make sure that it also serves as, and so I think it's critical. So yeah, I mean, and I just want to say thank you to staff, because it serves as my gym. So thank you. Thank you for having that. And I think the other thing is I want to see it when it becomes back open to the community, because I know that was instrumental for having, I don't know, you know, I know we want to take care of it because we've done a lot to it, but I know that was also a source of space for us to have the quinceañeras, the weddings, and for it to also be a space for our residents to be able to access that facility, because it is a community center. And I don't know if that's something that we're thinking of, how we also make sure that it is accessible to our community.
Through the chair, one thing that we are exploring is getting commercial kitchen status, so that we could actually rent it to small entrepreneurs to do food preparation. Which might be easier for us, because I think what's happening with the community center is in terms of renting it out, we have so many activities now that it's harder for us to accommodate some of the parties because they conflict with programming. But this might be a great way, because, you know, when people are doing these commercial businesses, it's during the slow time at the community center, you know, during the morning hours when we don't have as many people there. So we are definitely looking at ways that we can use these investments to really do more community programming and offer more opportunities like that.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So, okay. So council, with that, then, I entertain a motion to approve resolution number 6173.
I move to approve resolution 6173.
Second.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so motion carries on the 3-0. So, thank you. Thank you, Alex, for all your great work too. Okay, council, so we'll move on to mayor reports and acknowledgements. So, I know we have our timer. Hold on.
Until the chair, yay for us. 3:43.
We're so efficient through the chair state.
It's 8:43. Let's get out of here by 9.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so 3 minutes. Okay, got it. You can start my timer. Yeah. Okay. On October 25th, Megan and I met with Supervisor Lopez to talk about the Hacienda's apartments and our next steps. It appears the owners of Patels are looking to sell the property. So we discussed the different strategies to ensure how the city and the county can move forward together. So a couple of different strategies. Identifying affordable housing nonprofits, initiating a letter to our elected officials, updating them on our current issues and impacts for the on the city, and then providing a response to the State Water Resource Control Board as well. And then on the 27th of October, I attended a Monterey Waterkeeper fundraiser event, and I'm bringing this up because I met two amazing teachers, Margarita and Jaime, from San Vicente Elementary School, who are working with this organization to provide our 4th and 6th graders with outdoor education opportunities and also awareness about the Salinas River and the importance of equitable access and water conservation. So because we're doing a lot in terms of water conservation, I thought it was important to be able to share that because there's a lot of great partnerships that are happening in Soledad. And on the 28th of October, I attended the mayors and city managers meeting in South County. Renee, the Salinas city manager, will be exploring potential revisions to the benefit structure of the cities that are part of the JPA under the Central Coast Community Energy. So more to come on that. On the 28th, I missed the LAFCO meeting. I know Megan was in attendance, but the board did approve a 1-year extension for the Miramonte annexation until December of 2025, and I know that was in Megan's report as well. And then on the 31st, I attended the Spook Fest Halloween event and Harvest Fest. So thank you to all of the different organizations that put that together. It was a great event for our little ones and our families. And then on November the 2nd, and I attended the Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead celebration at the community center. So thank you to our Soledad Community Center team for a really great event. And I know this was a lot of the feedback that we received from our residents that they wanted a celebration, more of a cultural celebration. So I'm really glad that this was able to move forward. And then I missed the MST board meeting on Monday. But as you know, as you may not know, but the city of Soledad will have a new bus route, and we did receive a flyer and a letter, and that we'll be sharing more information with our residents on social media and looking at more marketing strategies. That will begin January of 2025, which will be the new line 32, and it'll be offering 30-minute services throughout the city. So we're really excited for that. And then just future, well, I'll do that later. Okay, I think that's it. I did it on time, yay. Okay, so with that, I'll move on to our council member reports, and I'll turn it over to Council Member Cabrera.
I actually will take less than a minute. I have only two things. I was not able to attend the what's it called, the Spook Fest?
Spook Fest.
During those times, I'm usually the driver. I'm the family Uber. Take people here and there, and I had a couple of people sick in my house, so I was not able to attend. But I was able to go to the Dia de los Muertos on Saturday. It was fantastic. I got there a little bit late, but it was really nice to see that all the kids and the dances, the Catrinas, and just the day before I was watching a short documentary about Catrinas, and it's supposed to be that one of those guys that draw cartoons in the newspaper in Mexico in the early 1900s. The guy did one to criticize people that pretended to be rich and didn't have any money. So that's why the skeleton with really nice clothes and stuff, and then became a tradition. And they have a really beautiful parade in Mexico for Dia de los Muertos. And I know in Michoacan, Pascua, they have a beautiful, it's an island in the middle of a lake, so they have a beautiful celebration. The other thing that I did was I attended that TANSI meeting, is the Rail Policy Committee, and we had two things right there. They were talking about the introduction of electric cars, so electric trains that will go from San Jose to Salinas. And they were giving us the explanation and everything, and I have a link for the presentation, so you guys can see the extent of the plan. And at the end of the meeting, they give us a notification that the area received, I think it's $40 million grant, and King City got, I believe, 27 million for the train station. And I started thinking, well, how could we have one? Will that be possible? So let's do a little more research of that. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so Councilmember Ansaldo Sanchez.
Mine will actually be under a minute. I have been out for a bit. October is a really busy recruiting month for my job, so I apologize to the community for being absent. I was able to attend the Dia de los Muertos event this past Saturday, which was really fun. The altar was really beautiful. I think we just missed each other. I did leave a little early. I wasn't feeling too great. And then I couldn't make the Spook Fest because I went into work that day. And I also was not able to attend the Salinas Solid Waste Authority because it was canceled for this month due to lack of quorum. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. So we'll move on then to our city manager's report. And so we did have an extensive city manager's report for this month. And so I'll turn it over to Megan if there's any highlights. And I know that you did give us also your proposal for the facilitation for the strategic plan.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, so I would, if you can let me know by Friday, if it's a thumbs up, then we will go forward and move forward. I'm pretty excited about working with the University of Kansas, which is the top school for local government, the top management program in the nation for local government. So I thought that would be really fun, and no one in our area has done something like this. We might even be the first in California. So I think it could be really a great opportunity. So let me know by Friday and it will proceed if that's okay. I did want to mention a bunch of stuff that's happening. We have our Veterans Day celebration on November 11th from 8 to 9:30 a.m. We're going to do it so that folks can have breakfast and then go to the parade for Salinas. We have our mural ribbon cutting on November 16th from 11 a.m. to I think 1 p.m. is the plan. And then I also wanted to mention that Senator Caballero's farewell is on November 8th. So if hopefully you've RSVP'd. And thank you for signing the proclamation for her. And then finally, we are looking for a date to do the ribbon cutting for the community center. So it will probably be in early January. That's our hope that the entire project will be done. But as I mentioned, as Alex mentioned, the kitchen will be done before that, but the gym lighting will probably be done by the end of December. So, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Megan. Any questions? Okay. Yeah, and thank you for providing that. I don't have any questions on the proposal. I just have a couple of comments, but I can talk to you on that offline. Yeah. Okay, so future agenda items, and I'll start with Councilmember Ansaldo Sanchez.
Yes, I would actually really like to explore some, maybe some sort of ad hoc committee, subcommittee, something, where the council can sort of work with staff on outreach and communications or something along those lines to assist with city-sponsored events or marketing, branding the city, since council members are wanting to continue being involved with their community. And that's it.
Okay. So,
Go ahead.
yeah, so let me just, to clarify, because I know we had talked about an ad hoc committee, can we, Councilmember Ansaldo Sanchez, can we wrap that into also the ad hoc committee to look at the events and sponsor criteria, so that way we could do both?
Yeah, that might have been when I was absent, but yeah, and
Could we
know
do
that we're doing that. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
That
One
would
of those
be-
events could be a brand.
Yeah,
Branding
okay,
opportunity.
we'll do that. Okay.
I would like to, talk about the, put it, the, subcommittee for housing that we have. I know the, Mayor Pro Tem is, part of it, and, after November, she's not longer gonna be with us, so maybe we have.
One thing I would suggest is that I think in December, after the election, I think we talked about this, we reevaluate the assignments. And so that would probably be the appropriate time to, look at that committee that exists. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay. Okay, anything else?
yeah, no, that's it.
And we'll bring that back. I think it will be the second meeting in December, based on what I understand. The rules are with the state of California when we can certify the election results.
Yeah, after December 5th. December 5th will be the
So
certification.
Wednesday will be the fourth, so we're just gonna miss that in December.
Oh, yeah.
We'll do it on the 18th.
Okay. Okay, yeah, and so with that then, thank you, Councilmember Cabrera. So I have also, I want to, maybe it goes in line with that, but or maybe it doesn't, but I want to be able to, now since we'll have a new council member coming in, is I want to be able to also have a discussion, or I don't know if it would be a workshop or an agenda item, but to be able to talk about the Miramonte development, and really talk about the development process. I know obviously we have an extension on the ag mitigation, portions of the ag mitigation and what we need to do with that, Megan, but really bringing it back to be able to have the council have a better understanding of where we're at with that process. I know the subcommittee took a dive into some of the agreements, but that's a big project, and I think it's important that the council understand the project. We'll have a new council member, and to be able to get everybody just an overview of where we're at with that project, and updates in terms of where we're moving forth with that development. So I don't know like what's the best way, but I just want to make sure that everybody knows where we're at in terms of that project.
So the chair, would it be better if we get some sort of workshop in that so that we can, so that we all can understand where are we and what are the next steps and what that year extension means and everything else? Because if we do it through a meeting, we have some sort of limitations, but if we get like a workshop in that we will be able to go more in depth on.
Yeah, through the chair, if I might suggest, having gone through this in other jurisdictions before, what I would suggest is maybe around February, definitely before the action comes, for you to look at the development agreement. We could do a study session. I would suggest to push it a little bit later because we might by that time have, we could discuss a little bit of what the DA is shaping out to be as well. So we would have more information, more technical information that we can share with you by that time. And that would allow when you do have to take action, hopefully in March or early April, you will have that opportunity to understand all of the scope, ask questions, so that when it comes before you, of course, you're prepared to drill down into the development agreement and addendum as well. and the affordable housing agreement, so.
Yeah, I think the study session will help. I don't know if like until February, Megan, I know, I mean, if we can look at maybe in January, if there's an opportunity to be able to do that, so we have enough time to understand like,
Sure.
you know, where we're at, and then before it goes that far, then we can be able to understand like, okay, so where we're at, is there any suggestions or what we wanted, where we go from here?
Okay, sure.
Okay, thank you. And then, I know I brought this back up and I just don't know, maybe we just need to have a conversation with Union Pacific. But again, I saw, I know they're leaving because it's ag season's gone, or they're transitioning over to Imperial and to Yuma. But I know that there's still a bunch of porta potties, there's still a bunch of, I've seen them now on both sides. And then coming in today, now I saw a vendor out there. So as like, we're having more activity out in that area corridor as we're coming in, and I want to support vendors and I want to support, but I just think the more that we let things happen as we're coming into Soledad, that we're gonna see more stuff. And I saw, instead of just one or two, you know, people that had their porta potties, or, you know, farm labor contractors, now there's like a bunch of different ones. And then not only was it porta potties, but now it was the big, their big trailers that were out there. And so you're seeing a whole lot more, and we see this as work, I see this as I'm coming in the evening to work, I mean, from work, so. You know, to Councilman Marcelo Sanchez point, and I know I've been saying this before, and I know Chief had already reached out to Union Pacific, because it's been years that this has been happening, and I don't know, like, what other things that we can do. We've sent a letter, you know, we've tried to address it. So I guess I'm just saying at this point, what else can we do? What can I do to support? Because I don't wanna, I know it's not our property and we don't have control over it, but what can we do as a council, as a city, to be able to ensure that we work with Union Pacific, if they're the property owner of that area, to let them know that these are some of the issues that are happening in our community, and they need to be vigilant about it. Do we need to work with Congresswoman Lofgren? Who do we need to work with at this point?
Yeah, it may be helpful to reach out to the Congresswoman's for support. We probably have two issues. We have the porta potties that are in the county property that we have tried to address. I think that was also mentioned. And then the ones on the property that's you know, the Union Pacific property. I will talk to Chief Lawson to see if we can reach again out to Union Pacific. They're very difficult to respond to, and it takes a lot of vigilance, but I think I could probably also reach out to our counterparts in Salinas, because I think they have a contact there as well.
Okay.
Where they've had a lot of homeless issues. So, and we also are interested in painting the bridge. So timing is good to talk about this and the painting of the bridge.
And on the county property, so are we reaching out to Supervisor Lopez? Do we write a letter? Cause I didn't know that was, some of it was county property, because I thought it was always Union Pacific and we were working directly with them at one point.
So the property that I'm thinking of is the property when you come off of Front Street. When you're
on
coming
this
south,
side?
I've seen, they've hit them up many times, but I've seen vendors. I think, council member Ansaldo talked about, you know, improving the entrances to our freeway so that when people come on, they don't see the dirt patches and the porta potties stored there too. And that's in the unincorporated county area. So we could talk to, it's probably a good idea to talk to Supervisor Lopez. We have reached out to environmental health, which is in charge of porta potties many times, but maybe it's time to see if we can get more diligence on those gateways, maybe
Okay.
even a shared project in
Okay,
those areas.
and we're documenting that, Megan, because I have a bunch of pictures that I continuously have
Yeah,
taken.
yes.
Send them over, and so I'll continue to send them over to say, hey, here's, and
Yeah.
even to the point where people are parking there and they're servicing the bathrooms
Mhm, mhm.
there.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is an environmental issue.
Yeah, it sure is.
So, okay,
And so it's I don't think we've reached out to Supervisor Lopez, but it sounds like it's time, so maybe I can partner with one of the council members and we can meet with them and talk about that issue and
okay, sounds good. So enough for future agenda items, and if there's no other items of business, and we do adjourn this meeting at 9:04.
I failed to introduce our IT folks.
Yeah.